Welcome back to Lucid Living, and if this is your first time, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you aboard. My name is Andrew Larkin. I'm an actor, model, performer, storyteller, breathwork coach, and today I'm going to be your host, your guide for today's podcast episode. And my friends, we got a good one today. I'm actually genuinely so stoked. I'm always stoked, but I'm really stoked today because it's a great day. The sun is shining, and we got a freaking dope, creative, driven, incredible human being that we're going to talk to today. But before we introduce this guest, we're going to do some nice grounding breath work. Today I'm feeling a 5 second box breath. So that's going to look like an inhale through the nose for five. And as you inhale, you're going to expand your belly like you're filling up a water balloon. Nice and big for five. Hold at the top for five. Exhale out the mouth for five. Bring that belly back to your center. Hold at the bottom for five. And we're going to do that 3 times. So really listen to the breath, feel the rise and fall of the belly, and let's tap in. All right, let's begin with an inhale through the nose in three, two, one. Big inhale through the nose, big belly. Two, three, four, five. Hold it. Two, three, four, five. Exhale out the mouth. Four, three, two, one. Hold it. Four, three, two, one. Big inhale through the nose. Two, three, four, five. Hold it. Two, three, four, five. Exhale out the mouth. Four, three, two, one. Hold it. Four, three, two, one. Last one. Big inhale through the nose, big belly. Two, three, four, five. Hold it. Two, three, four, five. Exhale out the mouth. Four, three, two, one. Hold it. Four, three, two, one. Alrighty, you can return to your natural breathing. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingertips, bring some energy back into the body. Take a sip of water if you feel inclined. Oh, baby. And today, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow humans, we got an actor, a writer, a director. He's a musical artist, and most importantly, the man is an incredible father. We got David Michael Brown the third, my brother. Welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here. My God, Andrew. We've been working together a lot recently, but man, I'm excited to just get here and get personal. I think that's honestly the best, most intimate way that we can truly just figure out more about each other. So I'm glad to be here. I'm so glad to be here.
Bro, I'm glad. The world's glad. This is what I live for these moments, man. It's like I love having conversations and let's like share it because I think I learned so much and I know a lot of us can learn so much, especially from you and what you got going on. So we start off every podcast episode with where are you in the present moment? So where are you geographically and how are you feeling in this particular season of life?
Well, guys, I am currently in Concord, New Hampshire, really far from home, but honestly, I wouldn't have it I wouldn't have any other way. I think right now it's the most silent in my head, mentally, physically, it's the most relieving. I think just being around all such a heavy wooded area, very secluded towns, pretty nice and I would say there's a lot of people here, but it's also nicely just secluded, fairly secluded, and it gives you a lot to think about. Enough, in fact, that you start to um, figure out yourself a lot different from where I used to be. But honestly, grounded. I feel very grounded.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. All right, now we're gonna dive into the past. So I always love every time I connect with someone. A lot of times I'm bad with surface level stuff. I like to go right to the juice, and I find that the best way to learn about others, and the way I've learned about myself is dissecting like who I am and where did I come from. So
Right.
starting from the childhood of like how were you raised, how many siblings did you have, what was the elementary school like, and then transition to middle school, and then high school, and then college, and then likes and dislikes, and that whole journey and process. So, if you'll indulge us, this is always the craziest question I'll ever ask, and it's the most overwhelming, underwhelming sometimes. But uh, I'm giving you space to share your own story in your own words.
All right. Well, uh, don't want to make it too long because boy, we would have to write a memoir.
We
But
will someday.
someday we definitely will. But man, my life is such a such a journey, but one that I gladly put on my sleeves only because it's a journey that I wouldn't want for anybody else. But I'm glad it came through me because I learned a lot personally. I don't think anybody else could have gone through my struggles, let alone me go through anybody else's struggles. So really sitting there and honing in and figuring out what exactly happened in my past to, become who I am today. um you got to start from the beginning, and the beginning is I was at the time pretty much the middle child. When I was young, I was one of three siblings. Older sister, at the time she was around, I would say about 5 years, maybe a couple more years older than us, than myself, and my younger brother, who at the time is only a year younger than me. So middle child, necessarily, like I really am the middle child. I was right in the sweet spot, but I didn't grow up with my parents, so no mom, no dad. They were fairly both fighting their own demons, and uh, as time went on, because I in the beginning it wasn't really a secured home. Me and my siblings were kind of bouncing around from place to place. Ended up in the foster system, being housed with my great aunt at one point. Um, but I would say from the age of 5 and all the way up to I graduated, my grandmother, she picked up a lot of heavy slack that was left behind in our family circumstances, and really honed in and took that to the heart because she raised not only three kids, but as time went on, my mom and my older sister, and then my aunts not only would have kids of their own, but we would have essentially become like a huge family house. We'd all live together, from three siblings, I would say, to around 5, 6 at the time, around the age of 10. So house was starting to get fairly crowded. Maybe I would say around age of like 13, 14ish. That's when it really started to get crowded. Sorry, I just every time I think about a lot of things in the past, it kind of brings up a lot of things that just kind of I totally suppress, but like necessarily not necessarily, I didn't become a better person because of those hardships. I would say a lot of it did take me break me down a lot. For example, like one, being the middle child of almost six other kids in the house, and then trying to figure out who you are when it's kind of hard to have attention on yourself. It's very divisive, you know. You can't ever really get somebody to fairly focus on you, and I necessarily didn't want that to be the goal, but I did want to be heard. And I think that's the hardest part was being heard. During my teen years, I wasn't really sure what I was doing, so I picked up sports. Before that, I was very much a homebody. Always stayed home. I would make little YouTube videos on my iPad by myself, or like film little fan films, you would say. It was really just me setting up an iPad and reenacting a whole movie in one setting. But that was a lot of what I did. And as you can tell, I guess that's where a lot of my creativity stemmed from. Like I always loved intricate things, whether that was learning how to build a breaking computer and build it back up, learning how to find a cheat out in a video game, or how to set up a camera like this to make it looked like I was moving really slow by doing this or something like that. Like there was just always something about technology, not only that, but just being in front of a camera or doing something like very intricate and weird that I just always found in love with. So again, going back to home life, not having a lot of intention on you, um there's a lot of substance abuse, a lot of alcohol abuse in my family. So growing up around that and really trying to figure out who I wanted to be as a person, um, it wasn't really hard to look and find what I wanted to do. Like I said, in the teenagers, I started picking up things of that nature, mainly sports though. Wasn't sure, not even sure about acting at the time. Acting wasn't even in my mind until my seventh and eighth grade of middle school, where a teacher had actually kind of forced me to do it because I was on an academic like probation at the time. I was a very hard-headed kid. I didn't want to listen. I wasn't doing good in school. I just wanted to be a cool kid. Like I wanted to be rebellious. Nobody could tell me what to do because honestly, those are the only kids that were being seen. So it was like, how do I join in on that fun, you know? Um, but she took me aside one time, and this was the first time and like first point in my life where I was like, okay, I have somebody I can genuinely look up to right here. And her name's Joanne Kolar. I'll forever call her out. And I actually was in contact with her not too long ago, and she still recalls the story to the people that she, the students that she now teaches in, theater and all that nature. But she sat me down and she told me like I didn't need to look for attention because everything that was talented about me was attention like grabbing. And it was that to where it was kind of like at first I looked at her like, what do you mean? Like honestly, you're just saying stuff because you're, middle-aged woman kind of just trying to tell me to relax as I'm, not listening to you. But after she said that and you know, those words really rang true to me and stuck with me for the next few days, she would later follow that up with, I want you to audition for this, and that. First thought it was stupid. I laughed at her. Fast forward, I ended up becoming the lead in her musical both times that I auditioned for it. And from there, it was like, okay, I have something. I have something. And whether that was sports or whether that was that, I had something and I knew it. And one person only took one person to believe in me. But ever since then, that was kind of who I became as a person. Basketball, like I said, sports. I didn't make the team my freshman sophomore year. That was actually one of the biggest things for me. One of my biggest challenges, and I was always looked at because at my school, many people don't know where I came from. I'm from White Plains, New York, but I grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut for most of my life. So I was around a lot of privilege. A lot of people considered me to be privileged, but I was a very underprivileged kid in a very privileged area. I would say that. And when you're in that situation, when you grow up with people who are also in that situation, you guys learn a lot. So yeah, like I said, between all of that, the family issues, I wouldn't even say issues, but the family challenges that we had, um, and those teen years where you're really figuring out what you want to do. Um, yeah, I think that helped me kind of build those stepping stones to where I am today. Um, I've I don't necessarily feel any I don't necessarily feel any like regret for anything that I've missed out. I don't feel any doubt for where my future is heading. Um, but the one thing that I do always remind myself was that I come from where a lot of people I come from a situation where a lot of people would have gave up. A lot of people would have said, excuse my language, but fuck it. Like, like this isn't for me, or I don't want to be here anymore, or I don't want to feel this anymore. And I've definitely felt that, being somebody who's attempted to take their life on two occasions and really kind of look to guidance from professional help and family and friends. Like, you truly learn to love yourself when you realize that all the things that you come from aren't your don't always have to be your scars, but can be the reason you are beautiful. It can be the reason you are special, you know? And I think that's the most important thing that you can know about David Brown is that I'm somebody who will always admit, acknowledge, and find remorse for any mistake if it's something that I've done to hurt somebody, if it's something I've done to hurt myself, hurt the circumstances I'm in, or hurt any situations where it might have been beneficial to not only myself but others. Know that I am somebody that will wear that scar, but not only make it a scar, I will make it beautiful by showing you that I can do way more. I can make it better by not saying it, but by doing it. And yeah, I don't need validation or anything, but I'm always going to try to make everybody's life, including mine, a little less harder and a little more easier. if I'm just true to myself and show them that I am who I am. A caring, giving, very much so. I'm very to myself, but I'm very much caring and giving and loving and nurturing. I am somebody who cares for others, and I'm somebody that will always look out for the little guy because I was that little guy and I still am in a very big pond. So honestly, if you anybody else has any more questions about my background, I don't think they would need to look any further than here because honestly, that's the most that you can get from me, and anything else is fake news. So yeah, I really just love being authentic because that's the best way you can move in life without having to worry about the justifications of anything else.
Mm. Mm. Bro, you are such a beautiful soul, man. And I just want to thank you for being so open. Sometimes when I do these, like you can feel walls that we place, and sometimes opening a door to have a conversation about it, and it's still challenging to talk about, and it's really vulnerable to talk about. And I'm blown away, and you're one of the most positive guys I've ever met. And I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that about your story. And to see the full, and I always truly believe that one, we can become a victim to what we've been through in our past. And then we stay stuck our whole lives and live in resentment and live in hate. And then that just creates our reality outside of it. And I feel like you've cultivated a lot of beautiful relationships and a beautiful life because you made the decision to get out. And again, I'm blown away, bro. And I think truly the people who've been in the darkest places have the biggest upside. Because sometimes, like when people have only experienced life kind of at this plateau all the time, and they live in privilege and they don't have to go through a lot of trials and tribulations, and we all go through our own
Right.
version of trials and tribulations. But when you've been in the darkest spots that a human being can go through sometimes, and whether that's a day, a week, a month, a year, years, I always like some people who I know have been through it and what I've been through. I'm like, it can be a gift, and it's not going to make sense now, but it might make sense in the future. And there could be a story, a character that you can portray with so much more authenticity than someone who's never been through it. And I'm so excited for where you're going to go in your career, bro. And I'm just, again, I'm blown away by you. And this is such a raw reaction because I didn't know that about you, and I love you even more for it. So thank you so much for sharing.
Hey brother, this is what you invited me on here for, and I think again, like a lot of people don't know me and Andrew. We recently became really close friends, but you know, uh, even from day one, the first day that we met each other, I kind of knew that there was going to be something here between us. But like, yeah, sharing that story, it wasn't it. It was necessarily obviously for content, but more so just so like we could get closer.
Mm,
I know we know a lot about each other, but we've never dived on a level like this. We never dove below surface. So, I think truly getting to know each other is probably the best way, especially since this is going to be a relationship that you guys are going to see a lot more, whether that's on your TV or somewhere else. But me and Andrew are going to be seen together a whole lot more for those who are wondering. And yeah, man, I just honestly like it was easy to let that go and let share that with you and your audience because honestly I think that necessarily it really does feel homey with like that's the energy and vibe that you bring. So it wouldn't be easy if you didn't allow it to be easy. So thank you, and I'm pretty sure anybody else who had a guest on here could say the same thing. So
thank you, bro. And I got this day is all about you, but I got some stories too to kind of like we can bounce off of and dive a
good.
little deeper another day. But okay, so I'm curious when it came to I wait for this question until later, but I love the idea of mentors and
Mm.
mentor programs and having people in your life that you look up to, and already hearing that you had, what was her name, was Joanne?
Joanne Kolar. Yep.
Joanne. On this is such and you don't have to be a teacher to be a mentor to someone, to like give someone hope and faith and belief in themselves and say, I see you, I see your talent. This is something we can all give others, and it's such a gift. It's such a beautiful thing. And I'm fascinated, bro, because I know you're playing sports, and then you're introduced into this new world. And I was like, I thought it was gonna be a play, but you jump into a musical. What did you have singing chops before that, or was that something you learned?
So I come from a family that loves music. So growing up, like Sunday mornings before going to church, going to aunt's house, going to see cousins, and everything, all you heard was gospel, all you heard was R&B, all you heard was music. So I've made music all the ways like since like elementary school, like GarageBand. I'm like even on iMovie, I would record my audio over beats that I would like record from another phone, and then like do things of that nature just to hear myself. So I always could, I would say, in a way, reveal or have that musical talent in the background. Um, when I initially auditioned for the musical, I wasn't even taking it serious. Like I laughed at it. I said whoever honestly was doing this type of shit was kind of like weird, and I was kind of the corny like, oh, I'm too cool for school kid. Like I wasn't even nowhere near that status. So for me to even be like that, honestly, looking back is so it's very just disheartening. But you know, she humbled me because she quickly took me outside, and when she knew I wasn't taking it serious, and was like, you think everything's a joke when you have opportunities that you kind of just let fall out of your lap. Like whether that was coming extra after hours to school to study for a test that I swore up and down I was going to pass because I needed it, or I needed, just asking for extra help, or going to practice and staying there a little extra words instead of, packing up my stuff early and leaving. Like I never took advantage of my opportunities. So when she told me that, kind of just got my act together. I went back in there. I didn't sing the best because at the time I didn't really know what voice I had. So I kind of just leaned into like the acting. What can I bring to that? Because I know I can somehow do that. So we sang the first two songs, the audition songs that she had. Then I ran a scene with one of the top choices she had for the other lead, and a few days later I saw my name on that bulletin, and I was like, oh wow, I was not expecting that. Not only that, I was the only colored male within that production. So to see that, that also, it was a very big accomplishment because not only that, on the opening day when we did the show, um, there were a lot of there was a lot of support and pats on the back and congratulations from areas of places I didn't even know I could get it from. And people definitely changed how they viewed me after that. And honestly, a lot of people would be like, I would, I probably got made fun of or picked on. No, honestly, from there, as weird as I wouldn't say as weird, but as cool as it is, my popularity like rose not only because I was comfortable in being open with every different type of person being on that production because there's so many people with different backgrounds, so many people from different areas and stations of life. And it's just like at the time we were just kids, but like you never knew what was going on at home. So for all of us to come together and put on something so fun and so just like that was actually really good because a lot of us were people who ended up becoming talents within the industry later on in life that I still check on with to this day. Like it was just a real moment. It truly was a surreal moment. And I wasn't sure where it was gonna go because again, after that, after the middle school musicals, I stopped acting. Like I stopped it and went straight back into sports going into high school. So I never really looked at it as it was going to be something that came back to me. But
Mm.
that definitely happened later on in life when a series of events happens, which we could probably get into later. But like, yeah, like I definitely just was kind of going with the flow. And after that whole experience with doing the musical those 2 years, I realized that hey, I had something else I was really good at, and if I ever wanted to fall back on it, there it goes.
Mm. So what was that journey then afterwards, after high school, and you're starting to figure out, and you're doing career days, and everyone's like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And you take that next step, whether that's college or whether that's going into a career and finding out what you're gonna do. What were those steps kind of after high school?
Oh, well, brother, I'm not even gonna lie. It was true. It was honestly like that last year, like of high school, before you're about to graduate, and you have that overwhelming sense of like I don't know if it was just me. Maybe it was just me. So I'm not gonna group you in this, but I'm gonna ask you the
Hmm.
question just to ask it.
Hmm.
But it's that feeling of like I don't want to do shit. Like I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. Um, I didn't want to do school. I didn't want to like try anymore. I felt like I had a 3.5 for most of my high school. So I was kind of like I thought I was enough. Like I did my best. I did what my family asked me to. I had got into the colleges I wanted to. I got in three athletic scholarships to play basketball for low D2, D3 schools, even though they're D2, D3, like nobody in my team was really getting that at that time. If they were, it was for football or a different sport.
Mhm.
So for me to be one of the first kids on that team to do that, that was kind of like, and so I had all these accolades that I promised myself I would do and my family. And after that, it was just kind of like, who do I need to prove this to? Like, what do I need to do? And I got very lazy. Um, Grades started slipping, almost didn't graduate. Literally, yeah, they told me like I was close to being held back. And after I heard that, I was like, well, you're bugging. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not staying back. So, um, yeah, what really took that whole transition for me to like get back into acting was having my son. Um, Having my child at the most unexpected time, at the most vulnerable, at my most open, at my most wounded, I would say. Um, was having a lot of problems internally with my family, wasn't sure what I was doing necessarily. This ain't a secret. And honestly, this isn't anything that I hide, but like yeah, like I was fighting like a bit of homelessness. Like I was sleeping in my friends' cars. I was trying to find bus stops, packing my clothes in garbage bags because my family thought that, I wasn't going to really do it in the sports area. I'm not too big for my size. I'm like 5'8", 160, maybe 150 now that I lost some weight. But around that time I was a lot smaller. But I had the heart of I had the heart of a lion. You couldn't tell me anything. Everything that I said I was going to do, I did it. So having those those negative thoughts and condescending like notes floating in my head 24/7 in a place where I'm supposed to be comfortable, it scared me. It really it not only scared me, but it hurt a lot. So like I said, around the time I was having my son, Grayson, which I love in my heart dearly, but even to this day I'm facing a lot of repercussions. Like yeah, I want to do acting because I love acting, but I'm also doing acting to prove to my son that his father isn't anywhere near that line of failure, that I tried to do something and it wasn't giving up on him or my family or anything of that nature, but breaking generational curses of being told that you weren't good enough to do something that wasn't meant for you. And um respect to my 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 son's mother. Me and her, we aren't together, but like she puts a lot into what she does for him, and she takes care of him solo at the moment. I'm far from where I used to live, so it's kind of a over the phone relationship with my son, which many would probably disdain or probably shame me for, but a lot of people don't know my backstory or what I did um with my time with him, you know? So I never really had felt the need to explain that to anybody. I never really I've never really shared this story this deep anywhere. So, you know, being the first time, saying it here and I'm not afraid to say it, like I've grown a lot because even thinking about it used to make me cry. I was hurt. Like I think of my son every day, but he's also the reason why I work so hard.
Mm.
So, like I said, going like before I graduated high school, not being able to do, not doing what I was supposed to do and slipping, like, and then finding out that at the time my partner was pregnant with my son, like, I had to lock in. I had to lock in. I had to. I was on the brink of homelessness. I'm having a son, not doing good. I'm about to stay back in school. At what point do you turn around and really look at the man in the mirror and ask him, what are you doing? So, there's a lot of things that I feel I still need to repent for, but I always ask the man above, um, to just keep shining his light on me because I'm one of his heaviest soldiers, and I promise him that all the time. I promise myself that because no matter what is thrown at me, I will always find a way to keep going. I will always, because for me, being stagnant is just an it's just not in my book. It's not.
Mhm. Yeah, bro. Dude, you are such an inspiration, and you're going to be such an inspiration for so many people because that's such a specific niche, and it's not an obstacle, but it is in its own way because it's such a blessing to have a child and to have um someone that can look up to you and the fuel that that gives you to keep providing, to keep pursuing, to be like make sure your kid knows that your dad is following his heart because I want you to follow your heart when you figure out whatever it is you want to do, you know, like and at this time in our lives, like it is challenging and there's definitely a lot of people out there who are artists and trying to figure it out to have a kid and maybe they're just like financially like they can't figure it out and they struggle to survive and all the challenges that come with it. But bro, I always tell my friends, and I always say this because Zendaya said it once, and I freaking believe this. Is she said it for her? It never felt like if. The question was when. It was never if, it was when, and I believe that for you, and I believe that for a lot of us, man. And moving, you got such a North Star, and again, dude, all the stuff that you've been through is gonna be such an incredible, it is an incredible fire to get you through those days that are gonna be tough, man. And a lot of people who don't have like that stuff have stuff to fall back on. I'm just I'm excited for what you're gonna bring into this world, bro. I'm just genuinely
I,
so stoked.
again, brother, like it only becomes easier when you figure it out. When you figure it out, but then you have those people that you can lean on throughout the way, like our relationship, for example, like building so many relationship within this niche industry. You already know how it is. Like there's so
Mhm.
much fakeness, there's so much ego in what we do with what we do and how we pursue, because in a way it's a very selfish industry. We got to fight, we got to claw to get what we want, and that's the beauty and the struggle of it. But at the same time, the beauty shines so bright when you allow it to, because you build relationships like me and you, or even with Jeff, or a lifelong friendship with Rashay, and now getting him into acting and everything in that nature. Like there's just so many things to where you'll never know when you need somebody. You'll never know when that one person can be just enough for what you need in that moment, so you can keep going and find what you need to do next. And I can't thank you enough. I can't thank everybody else who eventually watch this enough, who's been a part of my journey. Just like being there, allowing me to be on this podcast, allowing me to do certain reads, allowing me to be on projects, allowing me to, you know, just even do what I do, to say that, I do it for a living. Like it's all a blessing. And I didn't look at it like that for a very long time, but now I'm starting to see it. And, you know, like you said, God, God does give his soldiers the toughest battles. But if you are one of his soldiers, you better make sure you have your hard hat and you're on that line. Because no matter what, when the battle is on your front door and it's knocking, dude, like it's fight or flight. And whether or not you allow it to overcome you, uh, that's a personal thing. But we should always, no matter what, put show a fight to whatever is an obstacle in our way. Whether that's making a friend, if you're an introvert and you're insecure, knock that door down. Go out, make that friend. You're not gonna learn to live life if you're not uncomfortable, and that truly is the life lesson. Like you have to be uncomfortable. Whether I didn't know how we were gonna do our first read together, man. I really did not know how I was gonna do, because even looking at your profile, like you like I said, you're very decorated. So even looking at your profile, it was very it was very scary. I was like, dang, this guy's been on set with David, Mazouz and other things. Like he's been there. So like, what can I do to, in a way, impress my peers? Like that was the one thing going through my head, and I had to knock it down. I had to, because if you were gonna bring your A game, I wasn't gonna let you down. I was gonna let our read down, and again, like that's just the beauty. You gotta fight. You just gotta fight and continue striving for love and greatness and positivity. And as corny and cringy as that sounds, and as many people say it, it is absolutely the truth. Because if you live by negativity, you will get negativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Dude, it takes a village. And anyone thinks they're a self-made man, it's a lie, bro. It takes a village. And I also, it's funny because The social media is such a freaking illusion, dude. And I definitely I it's been a lifelong journey of being able to receive compliments, and I'm proud of all the work I've been in, like the work I've done and what I've, been through, and it's been a long, crazy up and down journey over the last 4 years since I made the decision to pursue it. But I'll never forget, man, I like did this my first photo shoot, and I had the list of models that I was shooting with. And I made the decision to look them up on Instagram. So I looked them up on Instagram, and I'm like, I was really overwhelmed and being like, oh my God, I'm super intimidated. Like this is
Hmm.
scary. And I show up on the day, and I'm just always, trying to be myself. And I'm like, you are just such a normal girl. Like there is nothing scary about you. Like I knew you in high, like the way a camera, and even for me, dude, where like if you scroll through like in 2020, I was such a hippie, and
Yeah,
it's such a different version of me, but that was such an honest, real version of me. I was silly, I was goofy, I didn't care what anyone thought, and I was playing and I was just showcasing that. And I feel like that was the most authentic I've showcased myself on social media. And now that we're in the industry and we're doing the thing, we're building momentum, the Instagram is kind of like another resume. So it's like if someone says, "Who is this guy?" All right, let's check him out on Instagram. The first thing they see, I want it to look kind of professional. And sometimes I get really angsty about it because I'm doing like what she's did, and I don't want
yeah,
people to think I am this thing because I have a really intense photo, and a lot of my stuff sometimes is like really dramatic, and that's not me at all. I'm such a lifestyle, like smiley person. And
right,
sometimes I'll look at my first like block of photos and content on there, and I'm just like, this like isn't really me. And it's such a weird thing, and I definitely want to be able to curate it in a way to make it authentic and true and
right.
bubbly while also maintaining the integrity of being professional. And maybe that just means Andrew, just make a professional account and then have a personal account. I mean, just answer my own question. And it's a lot of work. But yeah, it's just such a funny thing, dude, because I'll do that. And like, there's so many people. Like, I met this girl once, and I was like, we were having the most genuine, honest,
Right.
dope conversation. And I'm like, you're a human being. You bleed red just like I do. This is awesome. Like, we're having a good time. And then I looked him up on Instagram, and we actually talked about this, but she was on The Bachelor. I was talking to a girl who was on The Bachelor, bro. And I looked at her, and I'm like, if I saw her Instagram, I never would have talked to her, dude. I would have been too scared. But there's something like human interaction is the salt of the earth. It's everything, man. And
Mm.
and social media is it's a weird thing.
No, I but going back to your say, it really is. It's an illusion, and like you said, like you look at yourself sometimes from the things that you post because you realize that you got to do it, and it's an industry. Like, um, once you kind of know that you have eyes on you, or you can get those eyes on you, that's when talent. We usually just we snap. We go, okay, we need to do this, this, and that. I need to make sure this looks like this, that looks like that, and so on and so forth. But you ever take the second to be like, is this compromising my character? Is this compromising who I am? And sometimes you might have to make that sacrifice. And that's just the hard truth about the world. You might have to make that sacrifice sometimes, but do not let it be at the sacrifice of who you are true to your soul. So obviously we know about certain things in the industry yet that we have experienced or seen happen personally, but like you hear stories of people being taken advantage of, whether that's in the contracts, physically, emotionally, um but you don't realize that in a way you're kind of you're grooming yourself in a way to be attracted to this lifestyle when you indulge in it so much. So I think having that realism where you take a step back and you're like, hold on, okay, this is who I am outside of the camera. This is who I am outside of a production set. This is who I am when I'm around friends that I've been around for years. How can I translate that and bring that into a workplace to not only let people understand that you can be who you are around me? There is no facade that needs to be put on. And just protect yourself with having a good time, because you're not always going to find love in work, but when you love something that you do, and we love acting, we love being on cameras, um you know it's always going to be a challenge of whether or not you sacrifice certain things for the greater good. And I think with the whole social media aspect, it's like, yeah, in a way we do sacrifice ourselves. We do sacrifice our characters, and as sucky as it is, that is the harsh reality. But there are always ways where we can stay grounded, like doing this podcast or doing a philosophy Friday or talking to your friends and going out and have actually not being a parasocial, because it seems like that's the time we're living in now. But like living in the moment, being human is like, it seems like now more so than ever, we need to ask that of people. And it shouldn't be like that. But when you have people like yourself, my brother, like you find the greatest joys and you find even the littlest things just enough. Like I said before, just enough to help you get by. And yeah, I just think like you said, like I agree. Like, and like the whole social media thing is an illusion. But it like I said before, it does go deeper than that. And it's really just like it yin and yang right there. You can't, you're not always, and I think another thing as humans, if we understand, is that we can't always control everything.
Hmm.
you know we can't as much as we want to. We can't, but what we can do is take steps to a difference. And I think that's what people forget, is that they think that just saying is enough. You're gonna have to actually do in your everyday life, whether that is personal goals, social goals, uh, work goals, whatever. Like you're gonna have to do. And yeah, I really agree. I agree with you what you said, and honestly, it just made me go on that whole rant, because I was thinking about that for the last few days, man. I'm just so glad you brought that up.
It's real, man. Dude, I'd love to see you out in the wild, man. I feel like you got that gift where everyone who is around you feels like they can be themselves around you. And that's like such an underrated gift. And where people can feel like they can be goofy and silly and like
Yeah,
they're crazy versions of themselves. And it's so sad and I've experienced this and I still wrestle with it, where there's still rooms and places where I feel like I dim my light, or I
yeah,
feel like I constrict and create tension in my body, and I can and can't do things. But when you're around the right people, it's a pretty cool thing. So I wanted to acknowledge you for that. I want to talk a little businessy though stuff too. So
let's
anyone
go.
who's listening to this who's an actor, who's maybe at the very, very, very beginning stages, and they're trying to figure it out. What was your like? How did you get into it? What was because you did theater, but how did you transition into film? And what are the things that you did and are have done and are doing to continue to build a career as an actor in today's world?
Okay, so this is the parts in videos as talent like myself where we click on because we want to know the answers, and then they ramble on for a long time. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it very simple, quick. But yeah, I started, like I said, with the theater. But after that, and the whole situation that was going on, I was like, sports isn't going to happen. I can't go to college because I have to help with I have to raise my son
Mhm.
and help with that. But what else can I do? So quickly, what I did was, I remember the talent. I can act. Okay, so what I did was go online. I look up. Okay, how do I? As simple as it is, how can I start acting? Simple. You can find thousands of Twitter threads, thousands of Reddit threads, millions of YouTube videos, hundreds of master classes, audits, whatever you want, dude. Like there's so much on the internet nowadays that like acting classes are essential, people. If you're watching this, they are essential. If you want to get better as a talent, you need classes. Do not let anybody tell you that you don't need classes. Natural talent or those superstars where they've never taken anything, yes, that can sometimes be the case, but that is 99.9% of the time not the case. You need classes and you need time and work and blood, sweat, and tears. Not literally blood, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Time put into this thing.
For sure.
But there's so much now on the internet that in a way you kind of don't need classes. Like, you know what I mean? You can
Hmm.
build that repertoire. And that's what I started to do. I was watching videos, watching films, whether that was old films from the 90s, even the 80s. I was going early as 70s sometimes, even just watching straight roll film where it was only words, pictures, a couple, maybe it's like maybe a still image of what they were doing, and then boom, next shot is explaining what's happening. Like I wanted to know the ins and outs of the film industry, and that's the number one rule any actor should do. Know what the hell that you're doing, know what you want to do, because there's so many forms of acting, whether that's on screen, on stage. We have vertical shorts now. Like there's so many forms of media that you can do. So look up what you need to do. Look up the business. Look up what's happening in the business. What's being produced more, what's being sought after more, what type of talent are being sought after more. And you can find all these things on Deadline, Hollywood Reporter. You can find these things on IMDb. IMDb is one of the biggest tools any actor can use, and most actors do have. Um, but yeah, just doing that, like I said, building that repertoire. And then from there, I started filming myself. So filming short monologues. Scenes that I wanted to recreate myself, see how I would do. I started filming those, editing them, figuring out where the camera was. You want to learn how to be in front of the camera and what's behind the camera as an actor. I think that's essential because if you know how the camera works and you'll know exactly what you need to do in front of that to make your story the best story it can be
Mm,
with your character. So yeah, figuring out behind it and in front of the screen and then from there, just putting it to action, auditioning, going online, looking for auditions, figuring out where I can get real auditions from, like Actors Access or Backstage, or even, um, like I said, shooting my own stuff. I have a short series that I'm writing myself, mainly visual. And I've already put out 2 episodes, but it's a short series and it's on YouTube. And it's like, like I'm doing it myself so I can build that comfortability in front of the camera as I'm not getting work right now at the moment. I have a lot of projects lined up, but projects come in increments and months and you have to wait and all this time. So uh yeah, I would just say diving in head first, not being afraid and giving it my all is really how I got started. And it's not going to work for everybody. Some people might want to be more intricate in the way that they start. But for me, I knew that with my personality, with the way I am as a person, as somebody that will never stop until I get what I want, because that's just who I am. Um, it wasn't hard for me to just go, full face in and land on my ass if I needed to, because I'm willing to embarrass myself and being told this isn't good enough to realize that I can work to get there. And as an actor, you're constantly going to hear you're not good enough, constantly going to hear that you're not the right person, and it's a mental game. This I think you've said this on one of your podcast episodes before that it was a marathon and not a race, and more so it's really how you can stretch out this journey and see it through rather than being like, how do I get rich fast? How do I get famous fast? How do I get in this movie with this person fast? Because if you
mm,
love it, then it doesn't matter what project you're on, as long as you're putting your best thing in for
mm,
it. But yeah, for any talent that really just wants to get in there, you have to take that leap of faith. You have to, because without it, you're going into a business where people constantly are probably on their last resort. Okay, their
mm,
last resort. So you're going up against tooth and nails and thinking that this is a sweet, come in and just act your part and you'll get it. Industry, it's not. It's cutthroat. If you're not built for it, you're not built for it. But you can be, and anyone can be if you put in enough work and time and effort.
Yeah, bro. The journey is not linear.
It's
And
not.
a lot of times it's different when you're in the room and you see, like I told you, I did my first theater audition in person
Yeah.
2 days ago. And it was the first time I was in rooms with other actors. And you see the hustle, man. You see the grind. You hear stories of I was at 5 auditions last week. And you're not just competing with talented, accomplished actors who have performed since they were three. You also are competing against people who are working to put food on the table
Like,
and like
yeah.
pay to survive. Like this is life or death. They are 100% all in. And if we're
And
not all in, it's how do you compete against that? I mean, we're all individual, but
no, exactly. And like to add on to what you said, like it's life or death for some people. And to some, to outsiders who, have never even tried to, do something of this nature, like you'll never you'll never know what somebody is doing behind closed doors. So making that judgment like, hey, they can do something else or get a real job. To many people, this is a real job. It's real. It very much so is, but it's less so of a job and more so of a blessing. It really truly is a blessing. Depending on how you frame it and you foundation everything and the way you go about it in your future if things do go off for you. But like you can't be scared. Like you were in a room full of actors that have probably done things bigger than you and I both. Who definitely have done things bigger than you and I both.
Mm.
But you can't put that in your head because if you believe a role's for you, that role might just be for you. It might just be the one role that you always thinking about. Um, quick anecdote, and after this you can take it back over. But like,
Mhm.
um, one of the first agencies and one of the first auditions I got was from Luber Rockland, which is I think one of the biggest agencies based out in LA right now. And I got contacted through him through a mutual friend, and I auditioned. I was able to audition for WB's Gotham Knights before the show came out,
Mm.
and I was auditioning for the lead role. But like even getting that as somebody with no experience, nothing to really show, but I did I did show them that I had something within me. I sent in a cover letter. I let them know, like, listen, like I don't have much to show, but you give me a chance and I'll give you something. And sure enough, they sent me auditions for Gotham Knights and School Spirits, I believe. That was on Paramount.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I got to audition for both of those. I didn't get them, but to know that I auditioned for those things
Huge.
really kept me going. But I didn't allow it to hinder and I didn't allow it to inflate my ego. What I did use it as a stepping stone. Okay, I didn't get this. How do I keep going? And that's what every talent needs to remember. You
Mm-hmm.
have to keep going no matter what. And you can't dwell on things in the past. You cannot.
Mm-hmm. Dude, what a win. It's this I find it interesting too, because I just kind of celebrated people who are in the grind mode.
Right,
And sometimes I find similar to we live in the unknown, we're actors, we don't know what tomorrow really looks like a lot. But similar
right.
to someone who has a 9 to 5 job where you grind, but sometimes you can burn yourself out doing that. A lot of times you can
Mm-hmm.
burn yourself out doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can actually go kind of backwards, sometimes I find. And you're in kind of this like hamster wheel of doing it. Versus sometimes like if you breathe, surrender, allow yourself to recover, you can find a different path through. And that's the interesting thing about this journey is there is no one way. It's not like who can grind on this one path the hardest and the person who grinds the most gets to the end. There are so
Exactly.
many different ways to get into it. And I find for actors because a lot of us can struggle in the mindset game because of all the rejection, and usually we get into this because of our insecurities and wanting to be seen and heard and all this stuff. The mindset can cripple us. And what if we just
Mm-hmm.
simply reframing how I look at it versus I didn't get this so I suck equals like cause and effect. What if we can like cause and effect through our mind? Like I
Exactly.
shared the thing about what if it takes 30 no's to get your next yes. So that means I want to get to 30 no's as fast as possible. That means I want to fail, and failure is good. And that is a crazy concept because that shatters an entire belief my entire life that failure is bad.
Yeah.
And it's so much of perspective. And if we can really hone in what we have going on up here while also doing all the physical work to prepare us and to tap into our instrument and to keep those wheels greased. I mean,
Right.
it's incredible what we can do. And then also, I started believing in God, man. And I don't know what's going on up there, but there's something going on up there. There's some
Mm-hmm.
strings being pulled. So it's a culmination of so many things. And there's again no right, wrong way of doing it. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own resources. Everyone has a different instrument. But if you love it, man, and you keep taking effort and action every single day to get closer to where you want to go, and you have that North Star and that's where you're headed, I think you can't not get there if you got a good spirit and also the talent. It's an exciting, unknown little ride that we got going on here. And the circus, man, the good days, like nobody in like a normal world can sometimes beat a great day in the
Yeah.
world of a circus, of the world of an artist. The bad days can be tough though, but The good days make it worth it.
You're exactly right, brother. I actually couldn't have said that better.
Dude, I could. I'm gonna talk to you for like 3 hours. We're gonna have an
I know we don't
extended
want to
version.
overrun
We're
your
gonna have a
yourself.
Snyder cut of a 5 hour podcast one day. Um, but I'm trying to be better at getting this thing close to an hour. So
Okay.
we're gonna get this thing, and we talked about the past, we talked about the present.
Yep.
Now I give you space to talk about the future a little bit. And every time I ask this question, I'm always a little hesitant because I do believe in speaking our
Yeah.
affirmations and goals and ambitions and following that and speaking it into existence, that kind of law of attraction. But I also believe in working in silence and letting the work speak for itself and not needing to tell everyone what we're doing and what we want to be doing.
Right.
So I give you space to answer this however you want. I also open the door to what does the future feel like? What is like a mood board if that is what you're the next like 3 months or a year or 5 years or 10 years or the rest of your life? What does the mood board look like? What uh is that vision board? Like what colors are you into? Like what is or if you have anything going on that you're working on, so, what does that future look like? Or and again, however you want to answer that question, what you got dreaming up?
All right. Well, like you said, affirmations and everything. I don't want to share too much, but
Mm,
what I do want to say for sure is keep an eye out because this year and next year is coming. I think last year I set a very big precedent for myself. I made noise with a recent film that I had shot.
mm.
The End of the Record, if anybody hasn't checked that out.
Look
You
sick.
know, I after that film, I put myself on a really big radar in the independent scene and even some industry eyes. I've been really close to talk to some people from shows that I watched. So um this year, I'm making my television debut in a show called Murder Loves Company, which I can't wait for. So,
Let's
uh,
go.
I know I can't wait for that. And I'm shooting another independent television show where I will be playing the lead in that. Little more, I can't wait to hear. I'm meeting with the creators soon to figure out what they want to write for me. But really just locking in those next few projects I have, and from there, getting ready to make even bigger noise. I think at the moment too, I'm also moving to a new agency. So a lot of big moves, a lot of great things coming on. And honestly, I just pray. I pray and I don't think about them too much. I wait for the days to come, and when those days are come, I just know I'm ready. So mood board wise, uh lights, cameras, and getting ready to be ready when that action comes.
Mm, I love it. Let's go, baby. We're
Yes,
manifesting it.
sir.
We're manifesting in 2026. Keep saying, man, it's the year of miracles.
You
Let's
already
go.
know. Oh, and we will definitely be on a set either sometime this year or next year. It's going to be within the next 12 months, if maybe not, but we're going to be on set. I don't know why. I feel it. I
It's
just
gonna
feel it.
happen. It's gonna
It's
happen. I'm
going, yeah, it
manifesting.
is. I feel it.
Timestamp right now. Timestamp, y'all.
All right,
All
we're putting it out there.
right. We got some final rapid fire questions.
All right, let's do
I
it.
say rapid fire, but you can take your time with some of them because it might require
Let's
that.
make it fun.
So
I'm gonna try to do rapid.
let's rock it. All right, my brother David, what would you say right now brings you the most joy?
Friends and family,
What are your top four values?
loyalty, respect, loyalty, respect, ambition, and selflessness.
I love it. I love it. Because my intention a lot of times with this podcast is to celebrate our guests. I'm gonna give you permission to kind of take a moment to reflect, and the first maybe moment that pops in your head is a moment where you felt pride for yourself, whether it's overcoming something or setting a goal and achieving it, or the first thing that kind of pops in your head of a moment where you were proud of the work that you did and how you showed up.
Um, I would say just every time I was told I wasn't able to do something, when I was told I wasn't able to make the basketball team, when I was told I was never going to be able to start acting, when I was told that I wasn't going to be able to keep on going after having my son because my life was over. I proved every single one of them wrong. So
Mm.
uh, that's that. I'd say that's the most thing I'm proud of. Uh, my grit and being able to continue doing that.
Let's go. What is your go-to emoji? I'm
uh,
just start. I never. This is you're the first person I've asked this question to, but I actually love this question. I know there's another podcast out there that does it.
I
Says
don't
a
know if
lot
you
about me.
noticed, but I've sent the praying hands emoji to you at least 15 times. I don't. that,
It's a great one.
that's my thing.
I love it. What is your spirit animal?
Elephant.
That's a great one. That's a great one. All right, this one's a thinker. What is a book, a movie, or a TV character that you would say is most like you?
Uh, Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye.
Ooh.
And I would say that because I was a very, I was a very, I would say I was an angsty teen like him. I would always have questions about whether it was my own morality of certain things or understanding who I was emotionally. And The Catcher in the Rye is a book that you're taught to, you're told to read in school, depending on what school you went to. But like after reading that book, I've never felt an emotional and physical pull to um what is it like a can't think of the word, but like to something that wasn't of another human, but something that to be like a physical object to move me that much.
Mm,
Um, I've always I've always felt like that other side, whenever I get too cynical, whenever I get too negative, that Holden Caulfield is like in the back of my mind, and I need to just put him down for a second. But it's a real thing. I think that book is probably one of the realest ways a young boy can probably try to learn his or understand his psyche and growing into that man that they need to be.
mm. A great answer. I had to reread that book, man. What is a comfort? I'm gonna say because we also haven't really talked about music a lot. I a little bit, but give me a comfort movie and then a comfort song that you got going on right now.
Comfort movie has to be Stand By Me.
Mm.
I oh my god, I love that movie. Uh, comfort comfort song. Comfort song probably has to be all around the world by Lisa Steinfeld or Nobody's Supposed to Be Here by Deborah Cox. Both because they're my grandmother's Sunday go-tos and just because it brings back so much joy from when I was young and waking
Mm.
up on Sunday, getting ready to eat breakfast and hearing her blast music. So I play those songs almost religiously every day.
Mm. I love it. What is or who is an actor or an artist who inspires you? Someone that you look up to.
Ooh, okay. There's a lot of there's a lot of African American, I would just say black because there's a lot of stigma behind
Mm.
the whole label thing, but there's a lot of black talent is in industry right now
Mm-hmm.
um that I necessarily look up to. I don't I think the only talent that inspires me are the people around me. I think seeing them accomplish what we talk about in private messages gives me more fuel than seeing an A-list star win their next Oscar or whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that feels more accomplishing knowing that your circle, the people that you know, are doing something that the people you watched before are just doing. There's something comforting about that, just knowing that the people around you are winning. So seeing you in New York, seeing my friend Rashe starting his acting journey, like us doing reads, or seeing one of my other co-stars I worked with, like finally get her recognition that she needs to get and like stepping her foot in the industry, like that is way more inspiring.
Mm. That's awesome, bro. It's a really cool answer. All right, my brother. You go on to live an incredibly abundant and lucrative and fulfilling life. I'm talking your short films and films are catching buzz at the festivals, man. People are you're inspiring young actors to pursue their craft their art, whether that's being an actor or whether that's being a character that you're portraying. You're inspiring the youth. Maybe at some point you even start nonprofit organizations to inspire young people and make the world a better place because everywhere you go, you are constantly inspiring others. You're building your community, your tribe. Again, you have an incredible. You're walking the red carpets, bro. You're working with the best directors, the best artists. You're giving
Yes,
back to
sir.
communities, and you get married. You fall in love. You build a great family, and your kiddo, dude, turns out to be such an amazing human being, doing so much good in the world. And you're a grandparent, and you're on your rocking chair, and you're your storyteller, man, around that fire, and you're just, again, just giving so much love and yourself, and you're seeing the world, and just you check every box, and the boxes you didn't even know existed are also being accomplished in such a loving, beautiful way. And you live to be like 130 years old, man, but
Yes, sir.
ultimately your time is up and you go on to that next life or wherever that next stage is, and you got your loved one showing up to your funeral, the day of celebration for a beautiful life.
Yes,
And
sir.
on this day, what do you want people to say about you? How do you want to be remembered?
I want people to remember me as somebody who supported and gave their all to every single person that they met, no matter who. Um, I think a lot of people shy away now in this day of age of being able to give their full self because a lot of things that are becoming more standard. But I think if we lose ourselves as humans, being able to love, trust, just be a decent human being to one another, like that's when we've lost all hope. But until then, there'll always be hope. So if I can be somebody that adds to that, sign me up. And I'll gladly leave this earth tomorrow if I knew that that was my status today. Because at the same time, like I've dealt with so much negativity in my life that if my soul stance in everybody's life was that was a positive person, I always wanted them around, then I did what I needed to do.
Mm, that's beautiful, bro. And last question. Um, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but let's say I usually say a young artist, but you kind of already shared advice. Let's say someone's going through a dark night of the soul right now, and they're in that depth and they can't see the other end of the tunnel. They can't really see the light right now. What advice would you have um, to help someone push through who's in that?
Fuck all the noise. As loud as it gets, throw them headphones on, keep going. I swear I've been told so many times I wasn't ready or couldn't do something and turned around and did more than what I said I was going to do that at this point it's kind of a joke in my life. Let it become a joke in your life that everything you say is going to happen happens because that's when you know you've taken control of your life. That's when you know you've taken control of your decisions. That's when you know you've taken control of your path to where you want to go.
Mm, You heard it here first, folks. Bro, dude, David, man, I'm so again so genuinely inspired every time we hop on a call.
Hey,
Um,
likewise, brother.
I love you, dude, and I'm so excited to see where this year takes you, where this career takes you. Oh, that was crazy. And um, dude, just keep on doing your thing, bro. Keep like you are being guided every step of the way, and I'm so blessed to have you on today. But before I let you go, bro, let the audience know where can we find you, where can we support you, so that we can stay up to date on all the cool things that you're working on.
All right, guys. Well, you can simply look me up on Google, Instagram, TikTok, name same everywhere. David Michael Brown the third. I'm pretty much anywhere you want to look me up on, and yeah, you can find all of my recent projects, especially the film I was talking about earlier, End of the Record, which has garnered over 12,000 views, and honestly, one of my most positive reviewed when it comes to my performances recently. So I really love everybody check that out, and definitely just keep an eye out to everything future on those socials.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My dude, I appreciate you. Also, need a shout out, dude. We got to hoop one time. Next time we see each other in person
Oh,
in the
100%. Oh,
springtime, we got to hoop.
100%. 100%.
All right, much love, my brother. Appreciate you.
Much love, brother.